Evening, Mr. Vishweshwar. Good evening, Anurag.
Hey, hi, Tarun.
Hi, hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Amit. Yeah.
Hi, Tarun. Good evening. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah. Happy New Year. Yeah. Good evening, Mohammed Jasim. I think Ranjit has also joined. Good evening, Ranjit.
Hey.
Hey, hey.
Good evening, Anil sir. Good evening, Vijay sir.
Hi, good evening, everyone. From Jason.
Good evening, Anil sir.
Hi, good evening. Good evening to all. Hi, good evening.
Yeah. I think let's give a few more minutes for people to join. A couple of minutes. So please continue to hold. Thank you.
Good evening, Vijay sir. How are you?
Good evening.
I think we have about enough participants to join in. So let's start. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on driving road safety and traffic management through emerging technologies. I am Tarun George, Senior Project Associate with World Resources Institute India. And we are delighted that all of you have taken your time out to contribute and be part of this conversation, which is sort of organized in the lead up to the National Road Safety Month that's scheduled between Jan 18th and to Feb 17th this year. So we have with us an esteemed panel of bureaucrats, experts, and practitioners. So let me quickly introduce them to you. Amidst us, we have Mr. Anil Kumar, IPS, Additional Commissioner of Police, Hyderabad City Police. Mr. Vijay Kumar, IPS, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Cyberabad Commissionerate. Mr. Ziauddin Mohammed, he'll be joining soon. Chief Engineer, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. Mr. Vishweshwara Rao, Associate Director, IBI Group. Mr. Anurag Priyadarshi, Founder, Scientist Technologies. Mr. Ranjit Deshmukh, Founder, Roadbounds. Mr. Akshata Kari, Co-Founder, Pixwait. Ms. Alka Gupta, Executive Sales Operations, Aviros. And Mr. Mohammed Jasim, Co-Founder, Trafitizer Technologies. Thank you all once again for joining and being part of this panel discussion. The webinar will sort of comprise of a short series of presentations by the technology enterprises with applications in the road safety and traffic management space, which will then be followed by a panel discussion between the panelists present here. So before we get started, a few housekeeping rules for the webinar. All panelists are requested to be on mute unless you're speaking. Also, if your environment permits, kindly keep your videos on. All attendees are advised to send in your questions only in the Q&A box and not the chat box. Also, we will try to get as many of your questions as time permits. Also, we just wanted to keep you informed that this video is being recorded and is also being streamed live on Facebook. Yeah, so before we kickstart the panel discussion, I would like to welcome Mr. Amit Bhatt, Executive Director, Integrated Transport of Bureau India, for the opening remarks. Over to you, Amit.
Thanks a lot, Tarun, and good evening, everyone. I think it's great to join this esteemed group of experts and people who have joined this webinar, and basically trying to look at how can we drive road safety and traffic management through emerging technologies. And I think we would have loved to do this webinar in person, but given the current COVID crisis, we are doing this online. But nevertheless, I think what we really want is, one, I think especially to thank everyone for taking their time and joining this discussion. And also because this is a very, very important issue. Now, if you look at official statistics, every year, close to 150,000 people die on Indian roads. And that's a severe, severe problem. But what's even more striking is the fact that if you look at the global numbers, we are killing about 12, 13% of global road traffic deaths happen in India alone. And that's when India accounts for almost 2% of global motor vehicle. So with this 2% of global numbers, we are accounting for almost 12 to 13% of global road traffic death. And that is a major, major problem. And even if, let's say, you leave these fatalities aside, there are serious injuries and minor injuries. If you look at even from the economic perspective, the country loses anywhere between 3 to 4% of GDP due to road traffic crashes. And that's in excess of $58 billion US. Now so it's also an economic issue that why we should look at road safety. Now, having said that, when I started my career almost 19 years back, that time road traffic deaths were, annual numbers were close to 70,000, and now there are 150,000 plus. And the reason for this is road safety is a complex issue, both from the organizational perspective, but also from what can be done on ground, which can result in change, and that can also be scaled. Because what we are looking at is not only pilot projects, but how we can move from pilot to impact at scale. And it's very important because if you look at the severity and the type of crashes, there is some distinction between rural and urban areas. Because in urban areas, I think majority of the people who get killed in our cities are pedestrian and cyclists, followed by two-wheelers. So a lot of times it's the poor who bear the brunt of the road safety issue. So the question before us is how we can drive the change and how we can drive change at scale. And I think this is where the current situation, the era of big data, artificial intelligence, data-driven technologies can really, really play a vital role in, one, improving safety, but also providing mobility in a sustainable manner. Therefore, I think it's time to relook and reimagine our approach as well. Because one is, there's also a massive paradigm change in terms of the mobility mix as well. We are talking about the autonomous driving coming in. We are talking about how technology is virtually kind of playing a role in how we navigate our streets. So with this complex and ecosystem changing, how do we drive change? But having said that, we also have to understand that actions on road safety happen at multiple levels. City level, then you have regional level, then you have state level, and then you have national level. So today in the conversation that we are trying to look at how can we work with startups, how can we work with technology companies, how we can work with a larger stakeholder so that road safety and traffic governance can happen, especially in a city like Hyderabad. So we'd like to understand the initiatives being undertaken in this space and the opportunity and challenges which are being foreseen by the participants. So without taking much time, I just want to highlight that I trust this session would provide to be a great platform for each one of us so that we can explore and find ways so that we can integrate relevant technologies and tools into road safety and traffic management mix. I believe that the valuable insight from each of us that you will share will drive an integrated approach towards safer and better managed streets. I look forward to this productive discussion. Thanks again. A very happy New Year once again. And I'll hand over to Tarun to take this further.
Thanks so much, Amit, for setting our context right. So now let us move to the short presentations by the technology enterprises. So to all the panelists who are making the presentations, in the interest of time, we request you to sort of keep your presentations short and within the 5 minutes allotted time so that we can have enough time to discuss your intervention ideas at the time of panel discussion itself. So for the first presentation, we have Mr. Anurag Priyadarshi from Scientist Technologies. He will be presenting on the use case, studying traffic characteristics to inform road safety and traffic management interventions. So over to you, Anurag. Yeah, please keep it within the allotted time. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you, Tarun. Let me share my screen and do let me know if my screen is visible. Is my screen visible now?
Yes. You make that full screen.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone for joining in, and honored to be part of this panel. And thanks to WRI for convening this. We definitely need more of these knowledge exchange events. My name is Anurag. I'm the founder of Scientist Technologies. We build video-based traffic studies for road safety solutions. So I will take the next few minutes to take you through our tech offering Urban AI, with which we are trying to change how traffic study is done, again, especially for road safety. So I'll try to highlight why we should rethink traffic studies, given the context of road safety, and what are the usual objectives and related challenges. We will see where and how tech can help and where it is limited. Finally, I'll share some thoughts on how this tech can bring impact at scale. So why rethink traffic study for all the transport planners? So for all growing cities with rapid urbanization, we know that the points of congestion keep changing, the point of accidents, or with a new construction, things just keep changing with our growing city. And therefore, we need frequent, detailed, but very accurate, at the same time, very inexpensive ways of doing these studies. The manual study is inadequate as it's, of course, unscalable and unaccountable. Hardware-based technologies are very costly to do in our infrastructure budget constraints. And also, it's very intrusive and not feasible for a real-time study. So I will take Cyber Towers intersection as an example where we did this study. It's a busy intersection for both pedestrians and vehicles. So last year, the WRI team redesigned the intersection for improved road safety and traffic flow. So they did a trial of their new design, and we used our tech to study safety and traffic flow parameters before and after the design. One goal of the exercise was also to document practical limitations when doing a camera-based study and to come up with a standard operating procedure for data collection when using cameras. Whenever you have to do such a typical traffic study or road safety audit, you would run into certain challenges. So what happens is that the site-to-site variation and nuances become unmanageable. The traffic conditions in tightly packed urban spaces is very dense. And there are irregular movements of vehicles, pedestrians, as you can see in the image, and the variety of vehicle classes are also very unique to every city. Now, all of this leads to insufficient metrics for planning. Data is scarce. A major problem with when working with data is that working with data itself can become a work. And it can become so hard that either you spend days working with this problem of managing data, or you ignore it and go by generalized guidelines. So that's an unfortunate compromise that any planner has to do, and they end up giving a very oversimplified plans and recommendations. So how do we help here? So what we do with Urban AI is pretty simple but unique. Our platform takes simple video feed, but then we also integrate geospatial information like location and multiple other geospatial data points to give and we run the entire video through our platform. And what you can see on the top are all the traffic flow parameters, road safety parameters. And we also give a design overview of the road. So with this, how do we handle those challenges which I had mentioned? So one, with a web user interface, planners can very easily configure the video to handle all the nuances of different sites and variations, which are specific to site, and they can adapt to dense traffic scenarios. Two, the problem of insufficient metrics is totally gone, because with our advanced analytics dashboard, all the parameters like spot speed, clearance speed, speed histograms, counts and classifications, of course, clearance time, and multiple other parameters can be found. And three, what we have done is we simplify data management and analysis at 3 levels. So if this tech is consumed by a transport data analyst, there is a wealth of data point to play around with. If it is used by planners and consultants, high-level metrics are already calculated and ready. And for city governance and governance stakeholders, we give a very bird's eye view and insight for incident management, real-time traffic health, and everything. Yeah. So what is something which we are proud of achieving? One, given the traffic conditions, we were able to consistently achieve high accuracy. The minimum that we could get was 85% accuracy given all the constraints. At better places were 95, 98, 99% accurate. We were able to get speed for all vehicles using a normal CCTV camera. So we did not actually use any speed measurement device, but we took parameters like overspeeding, which is such an important consideration for road safety, using normal CCTV cameras. Also, we could make a very important safety parameter, which is conflict, which is the probability of an accident between two road users, a pedestrian and a car, or different road users. So we could compare these before and after the intervention. Now it was a design intervention in this case, but it could be for any other intervention like bus priority lane, relocating parking stands, etc. We also created a very detailed SOP. Now, but still there were some limitations, of course. The environmental factors kick in when you're doing a video-based analysis like rain, fog, etc. Now, two-wheelers are still an elusive mode to understand. Our accuracies were lower in this mode. And operational challenges are there when it comes to setting up cameras and getting accurate data, but these should go away with our SOP. How we see this going forward is that we see this being integrated into cities' ITMS for mid to long-term solutions to traffic issues. Also, we are creating, and we have already created to a good extent, a standard template for all traffic and safety audits and studies by bringing the best from all use cases. So this will add more simplicity and ease in the work of road safety consultants and planners. And the other is that from a micro level plan, we are scaling it to a macro level plan where we are integrating it with GIS, simulation software, transport planning tools, so that the multiple forms of mobility that Amit just mentioned, all the different mobilities can also be integrated. So that is it. We hope that all these bring more impact, and we are really able to achieve far lower number of deaths and even make roads safer for seniors, for kids and everyone. Thank you everyone for your time. I can take questions probably during the panel discussion. Yeah. Thanks, Tarun.
Yeah, so thanks, Anurag, for sharing with us your technology solution and how that could sort of inform road safety and traffic management interventions. Yeah, so now I move on to Mr. Ranjit Deshmukh from RoadBounce. He will be presenting on the use case, the technology to aid.
Tarun, can I interfere, Tarun? Anil Kumar here.
Sure, sir, yeah.
I would like to request Anurag. He just mentioned about the two-wheeler traffic. Can you throw some light what kind of technology they are using for this two-wheeler traffic and how we can improve it, any kind of enforcement or any other kind of study they have done or any technology they are proposing? Can you request Anurag to kindly throw some light on that?
You want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So the technology that we are using is deep learning AI-based technology, and we started from scratch, giving the importance to two-wheelers in Indian traffic scenarios. So from the ground up, we always consider two-wheelers as a very important player in the Indian traffic scenario. So our solution is very customized for two-wheelers. When it comes to technology, it is we have improvements in the detection of the vehicle, improvement in tracking of the vehicle itself, and these are all video-based technologies, neural networks, and I can go into technical details. But I think so. What differentiates us is that we have always given two-wheelers very high importance given our road traffic conditions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Anurag. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Yeah. So let's move on to the next presentation. Mr. Ranjit Deshmukh from Roadbounds. He'll be presenting on the use case technology to aid road maintenance governance frameworks. Over to you, Ranjit.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, Ranjit, go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Tarun and WRI for having us here for this panel discussion. So we at Roadbounds, we work on the monitoring part of the entire puzzle. Essentially, what we have observed is around 80% of the roads in India or even worldwide are not monitored for quality frequently. And then most of the municipal corporations, they either fall back to purchasing either of these heavy survey equipments, or then we ask citizens to report potholes, take a picture and upload a picture, which is always going to generate limited data. So the whole question was, can we do something here with the latest technology so that we can increase the frequency and effectiveness of the road monitoring solutions so that we can generate right data and we can increase traffic safety. So what we have done is we have come up with a IoT smartphone based system where we capture the road riding quality data live. So we just have to drive our vehicle through the city and we capture which are the red spots, which are the green spots. Now, this categorization we come up with is not based on any subjective assessment, but it's very objective as defined by Indian Road Congress or even the American ASTM Society. So those guys have specified how the road quality should be measured, and that's what the compliance numbers, what we come up with. So essentially what any senior decision-making authority gets is like, you can get a dashboard like this in your corporation head office, where you can look at all the roads in your jurisdiction, color-coded on Google Maps. So the green color shows that the road is good, yellow is average, again, as per IRC guidelines. Red is poor condition and it needs some action. We also have a default built-in historical comparison feature built into the system, where when we give out the road contractor work, we can also verify the quality of that work, whether the work was done correctly or not. So these sort of validations are there. Now, this is extremely important because much of the budget spends, like there are certain wastage areas when it comes to road maintenance. Some roads get repaired very frequently without a reason. There is no prioritization currently. There is no objective tool for prioritization. So because we always have limited budget, we need to decide where to spend that budget. And the system helps with that sort of prioritization. For certain critical or sensitive issues, we also generate the video evidence of the entire thing which is happening. And it's kind of an interactive video where the authorities, we give a pen drive and the authorities can just click on any of the red patches and they are taken to that frame of the video to see what exactly is bad or good at certain road problem. Now, we presented this technology to GHMC back in October 2017. And again, thank you to WRI and GHMC. Because of you, we started doing this into the municipal corporation domain. Earlier, we were more focused on national highways and state highways. So this is the study we did in GHMC. The left-hand side map we created before the road work was done. And based on this data, the pothole fixing work was done. And then we did another second survey. And you can see that there was a significant improvement in the road quality. There were also some areas where there was not much of an improvement, which could be easily pointed out, and then the work could be focused onto those areas. So this basically gave a direct proof of ROI of the money what we are spending on road maintenance. Similar stuff. Now, last few years we had been doing this for different customers. Recent one we did with Mumbai Municipal Corporation, where they actually enhanced this system further. They asked for some more features, and they asked us to produce very detailed contractor-wise and ward-wise reports. Now, this was important because some contractors do much better job than other road maintenance contractors, and they need to be awarded. So to do that, we need to find out who are the top players, who are the best quality providers. And that way we can appreciate those people. So that's why we came up with around 20, 30 different analytical reports using this data. Now, what's different is, I mean, compared to the current solutions, what we use, obviously the machines, what we buy for doing road surveys, they give us data, not information. This system actually, because this data is digital, we can convert this into information which we can act on. So essentially, we can save money on budget. New work budgeting, allocation, prioritization can be done very effectively. We can appreciate the contractors who are doing good under different period. And at the end of the day, we can actually go towards our objective of no more potholes using this system, because now everything is transparent to the head office sitting in government.
Request you to wrap it up in the next 1 minute.
Sure. Just last slide. So, I mean, started with GHMC. Now we have pretty much a global footprint, working in different countries now, and would love to, you know, get more queries and provide more information on the product. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ranjit, for that presentation. Yeah, the external environment does play an important role in curbing accidents. Yeah. So next in the lineup, we have Ms. Akshata Kari from Pixweight. She will be presenting on the use case violation detection systems to enforce road safety. Yeah, over to you, Akshata. Akshata, you are on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Tarun, and good evening, everyone. I am Akshata, co-founder of Pixweight. We are a Bangalore-based video analytics company, and we also work extensively on traffic analytics, particularly for Indian number plates, Indian vehicle types, and Indian road conditions. So continuing on the conversation we are having today in enforcing traffic violation systems to help in road safety. So the team here is already aware of how camera-based video analytics can help in identifying multiple violations. I will just walk you through some of the scenarios where we can identify certain traffic violations. But in terms of camera-based intelligence, it can both help in detecting violations, particularly in real time. So that's where video analytics becomes very powerful, where a real-time violation detection can either help in either link it to e-challan systems or inform the nearest or the next traffic police to take actions. But also understanding the traffic patterns or driving behaviors can help in planning or policy making of the traffic police better, or also help in infrastructure designs. So in terms of identifying violations, particularly on our city road conditions, can one help the central monitoring system, people who are monitoring central surveillance systems, to either comply on the e-challan system that in itself can bring in a better compliance in road safety for the people who are aware that, okay, there is a 24/7 traffic detection system available. make it less human dependent, and also help in taking action. Another important point is we can also do a deterrent system for the drivers or the people motorists, either identifying a no helmet detection or overspeeding vehicle and giving a visual or a audio cue on the roads is also something that we can do since it's a real-time system. Let us look at some of the examples where we can use camera-based video analytics. One, we can, of course, a very important thing is a red light violation detection, where we can identify either a vehicle jumping signal or the red light. Then there is a seatbelt violation or a mobile phone usage that we can check. In terms of two-wheelers, we understand the fatality which two-wheeler violation detection violations are very fatal. Be it helmet detection or a triple riding detection is something that's possible with the cameras on the roads or at the junctions. Another interesting part is that in India, the lawmakers are finding it difficult to also make the number plate systems or standards compliant, where we can help in identifying vehicles which are not having a standard number plate, and also inform so that there can be some fines to comply on the standard number plates. In terms of speed detection, there is laser-based speed detection systems available, but that gets very expensive to implement in citywide, where in terms of camera-based analytics, we can identify the average time taken from signal 1 to signal 2 and help authorities identify the overspeeding as well in terms of patterns. So the idea here is not just identify violation, but also help with patterns like traffic density estimation, traffic patterns, where we can find better methods, more effective and less expensive methods to enforce traffic safety, and not just in terms of a straightaway e-challan based systems. So ours is a deep learning based model. This is a software based analytics. So this also becomes very important that we work with the policymakers on not looking at a hardware based, camera based analytics, which can do a single analytics per camera, where we can design a more practical and a lesser expensive solution where we can do multiple analytics on the same camera, understand the requirements of that traffic signal or on the roads, and I combine multiple analytics and give more intelligence to the policymakers. So that's where it becomes key to implement such a system. In terms of a little quick background about our company, so we are working extensively with some Indian highway infrastructure companies and few deployments in UAE, where we bring in the vehicle class count and traffic violation system intelligence. Apart from that, we are also working on face recognition based and systems, and we have implemented a few public installations as well. That's from my side. I'll look for more detailed discussion on the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Akshita, for keeping time and for sort of sharing with us your technology product that can help in enforcing road safety. Now I would like to invite Ms. Alka Gupta from Aviros. She will also be presenting on the use case violation detection systems to enforce road safety. Over to you, Alka.
Yeah, thanks, Tarun. The screen is visible?
Not yet.
Just wait.
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Alka, and I am here basically representing Aviros. So, our company is into video analytics. We do video analytics based on operating system, and we are based out of Gurgaon. We are working on a Make in India model, and Aviros is basically a company which is providing the operating system marketplace, right? And we do have our operating system on which we have a multiple application is running on the same. And what exactly Aviros is, so we are into like video analytics. We do have our video data that is in the form of unstructured data. We do process the data and run the application, and that data comes is into the form of complete analytics form. Okay. And how do Aviros help? Like today we are talking about the road and the traffic management. And for this, we do have a multiple application that you can see on the screen. We do have a solution for the like helmet violation, automatic number plate recognition, and vehicle count and classification. And apart from this, we do have this application as well. That is the wrong way detection, speed violation, parking violation, zebra crossing violation detection. And basically Aviros is providing the app stack. So we do have a multiple application, somewhere around 40 to 50 application, and it depends upon the use cases, depends upon the industry verticals that if you are talking about the retail, and if you are talking about the warehousing, if you are talking about the manufacturing. So we do have a multiple application depending upon the industry vertical that is required by the customers. So here, if we are talking about like vehicle count and classification, so as I already told you that we have a solution kind of like wrong way detection, speed violation, and with this you can download all those applications from the app stack. So basically app stack works as an Android. We do have our Android phone, and from there, from the Play Store, you can download all the application that you require. So similarly, our Aviros app stack work on the same way. We are providing app stack. From there, you can download the application that you are requiring as per your requirement. And how does Aviros work? So here I will play a small video, and here you can see these are all the cameras. Those are connected with a common network, that it could be a LAN or WAN. And on the top of that LAN or WAN, there will be a servers. Wait. Okay. So here's the processing hardware, that processing hardware with some configuration. And we do like implement our Aviros OS, and on the Aviros OS, there will be a top of application that you will be requiring according to your requirement. So basically, this is the basic function, like how Aviros works. And with that, you can also, okay. So on these particular cameras, you can run the application on a single application. You can also run with a single camera. If you wish, you can also run different application on particular cameras. If someday or sometimes, if you wish to run the application that is running on camera 1 to camera 2, that can also be possible. So this is the video that you can see on the screen. We can also connect the multiple cameras on that particular local area network. For this, you will be requiring for the servers as well. On the servers, we will be install our Aviros OS and the number of applications that you can download as per your requirement. And you can also go with the site-wise, like site 1, site 2, and site 3. All these sites are connected to the single console, and from there you can manage all those site 1, site 2, and site 3. Okay, and moving to this, we do have some customers as well. Those we have already work done. Is NCRT, Thane, Smart City, Dr. Reddy's, UPL, Biocon. These all are our customers that we have already worked with. And apart from this, I will also want to play a video that can help you like how Aviros work for the vehicle count and classification in terms of traffic management and road safety. So this is the video from where you can get the alert, like which kind of vehicle it is, and
could you wrap this up in next 1 minute? I mean.
Okay, yeah, Tarun. So in this video, you can see the classification of the vehicles, like which kind of vehicles is it, 2-wheeler, 3-wheeler, bus, truck, etc. And you can get the result on the right-hand side, like you can see. and how the vehicles are over, like, and here you can get the all the stats, like which vehicles has crossed and which vehicles, motorbikes, buses, bicycle, three-wheelers, etc. Thanks, Tarun.
Thanks, Alka, for this presentation and showcasing the technology. Yeah. For our final presentation, I invite Mr. Mohammad Jasim from Traffic Technologies. I mean, for a very critical use case, which is post-crash emergency response technologies. So over to you, Mohammad.
Thank you, Tarun.
Yeah.
Can I share the screen? Tarun, can I share the screen? Okay, Tarun, it will be easy for me to navigate the screen if I share.
You want to share the screen?
Yeah, I think that will be.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, can you see my screen, Tarun?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Mohammad Jasim, co-founder and managing director of Trafitizer Technologies Private Limited. We are a startup based out of Cochin, Kerala. Trafitizer is a DAPP recognized startup developed India's first emergency vehicle preemption system. The problem that we are dealing with is to reduce the emergency response time and thereby saving lives. We have seen numerous efforts from policemen around different part of India regarding this. And the recent one in Hyderabad is well appreciated. So a couple of years back, I thought how we can put an end to this chaos. And I did some research and I found that it's not really easy because we have unique use cases. The traffic condition is different. A lot of problems are here, like the heterogeneous traffic conditions, high population, limited road infrastructure, poor lane discipline, and each junction have specific characteristics. So I haven't stopped there. I went ahead. We are able to manage a team, and then we were able to develop India's first emergency vehicle preemption system. So before going to the explanation, there are two requirements for this system to properly work. The first one is a priority chart for the city, which has to be prepared by the authorities. Like the chart should clearly say like this, like for this priority, for this emergency case, this will be the priority. For cardiac arrest, the priority will be this in this case. And for multiple fracture, this will be the priority. And for police under pursuit, this will be the priority. So that's the one requirement. And the another requirement as of now is we need to have an input to the system, the distance to signal change with respect to the time frame, like from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. In these different time frames, from the approach angle from north side of the junction, at what point it is better to trigger the signal without affecting the other junction. There are a lot of conditions affecting while we take control of a traffic signal system immediately and when we trigger the signal for emergency vehicle. So from the pilot run and all we have done here, we found that it has to be, that input has to be come from the expert team, from the police department and from the related authorities. So these are the two inputs which is required for the system to work. Then the system will take care of it by its own. So for the system to work, the emergency vehicle, the driver has to set the priority for with respect to the priority that they are carrying. And then they have to log in to their mobile application. That's all they have to do. And the rest of the thing will be taken care by the system automatically. And the police control room will have the supreme control over the system. They can turn it off. They can turn off the system for some particular junction. They can do, they have the supreme control over the system. Like they can also turn the green channel for particular lines. Then this will not interfere. Our system will not act upon those lines. It will not override this system which is running in the backend. So this is a bit complex concept which if we go deep dive into, the USP of the system is precision geofencing in emergency movement. Like we are not installing any sensors in the junction to detect the emergency vehicle or to detect the distance to the junction and all. We are dealing it with the geofencing, like the geo coordinates, using the geo coordinates. So multiple fences were created, like virtual fences were created nearby the junctions. And these, the characteristics of these junctions changes time to time without making a conflict, without making an error. So there were a lot of challenges while developing the system, and we were able to come across that barrier, and we have implemented this system in six city junctions in Cochin, including Vaitla Junction, which is the highest, which handles highest number of traffic in Cochin.
Mohammed, please try to wrap it within the next 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. So these are some of the technical specs. The system is fully automated, and it supports multi-level priorities for emergency vehicles, and it have adaptive features, and there are split zone features, green corridor facilities there, and there is subzone based progressive prioritization. These are some of the technical specs. And if we look into the pan-India perspective, as we heard in the initial introduction, there is a huge impact we can make. And then coming to the achievements, the technology is recognized by Keltron, Kerala State IT Department, Kochi City Police Commissioner, Kerala Startup Mission, Vice Chancellor from Kerala Technical University, and so on. And we got an association with Keltron with the tender. And we were able to successfully do the pilot run in 6 major city junctions in Cochin, Kerala. And we were appreciated by Google India MD, Mr. Rajan Anandan. And our system were inaugurated by Kerala Chief Minister. And we got appreciation from NATPAC Trivandrum. And we have also won several startup awards, including IITF Delhi 2017, and so on. I think, Tarun, that's enough for a quick introduction. Maybe you can play the video. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jasim, for sharing us your technology solution, and to all the presenters for showcasing your work. Now, let's quickly move into the time of panel discussion. And I invite Ms. Chaitanya Kanuri, Manager, WRI India, to take over the panel discussion.
Tarun, can I ask Mr. Jasim some questions?
Sure, sir. Actually, we're moving into the panel discussion. Do you want to ask it then, or?
अभी पूछ लेता हूँ क्या एक ही बात है
ठीक है yes sir go ahead.
Jasim, your system is looks very good.
Thank you, sir.
I just want to know that how many cities it is implemented, because you just mentioned that it is a pilot project has been done, but actually how many cities in Kerala you have implemented it? And number two is what is the frequency of this using this technology by all these emergency vehicles? Because in Hyderabad, actually we also had planned it, but somehow it could not be taken further. And then I think because in Hyderabad we have so many hospitals, and because I think every 1 kilometer almost we have 2 or 3 hospitals. So if we start giving such kind of facility to all the ambulances, then I think we'll be clearing only roads for the ambulances only. But I found your one thing good, that you have given it to only specific type of disease. I think a specific type of emergency, like you mentioned that heart attack cases, there something like that. So I think that is a good learning point for us. So just can you tell me that how many cities it is implemented, what is the frequency where it is already in use?
Okay, thank you, sir. Regarding the cities, after the pilot run in Kerala, we had a difficult time followed by the flood disaster. And after that, there is some traffic renovation going on in Cochin regarding some ATCS implementation by Keltron and also. They have to do a lot of testing configuration regarding the ATCS implementation. So for the time being, it has been taken down. So on top of it, we will be implementing it soon. And when it comes to giving access to this system, that has to be discussed initially with the top authorities, with the trauma care, and we have to shortlist few hospitals and few ambulances which have more use cases, and then we have to start like that, and gradually we can increase the numbers of the emergency vehicles. And as I said, initially we have to configure it manually in the junction, like the distance to signal change. So when more frequent emergency vehicles start to hit from a particular direction, this distance will automatically reduced by the system. So there is a machine learning, artificial intelligence and machine learning concept associated with this. So it will check for the scenarios and conditions, like the pattern changes of the emergency movement, what are the frequency of the emergency vehicles approaching from each directions, how will it have an impact to the traffic. So these things are taken care of. However, still, as a precautionary measure, we need to start from small scale with a lower number of use cases. And it was a really challenging for us when we got the first signal around April 2017 in Cochin. It was Kakinada Junction, a 24-hour junction. So there was traffic 24 hours. But unfortunately, with these configurations and our expertise in this geofencing, precision geofencing, we call it, like no much expertise available in India and all, because the industrial application is very less when it's come to precision geofencing. And when we have to put two geofences, virtual fences nearby, there are a lot of challenges we need to figure it out. Those things we were able to figure it out. There was a huge support from Kerala government and the police department there. So we were able to figure it out within after 1 month, all the tests were positive. And then we got permission to extend it to the 7 junction, to including Waitla junction, which have the highest number of traffic, which we can compare with the junctions in Hyderabad. And this system can be integrated to any traffic signal. Like I think in Hyderabad, it is the bells signals is using. It have a hurry call port facility. So it is like plug and play. We can connect it to the hurry call facility. So it will take control only at that particular moment. For that particular few minutes, it will take control, and it will give control back to the existing controller. That's how it works. So hope I'm clear.
Yeah, thank you. I think you are clarified. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, over to you, Chaitanya.
Thanks, Tarun. And Mr. Anil Kumar, I think the point you raised about how many cities it's implemented in and Justin's solution facing these roadblocks is actually one of the issues that we're seeing in this space, as in many other spaces, where when we're talking about enterprise solutions working with government, there are lots of pilots and there are demonstrations, there are results as well, but then moving that into scale, moving that to scale, implemented across the city, there seem to be roadblocks that we'll also again discuss later on in the conversation today. But having heard first from the sort of enterprise solutions that are available in this space, what we'd like to do now is maybe just start by understanding how cities are also deploying some of these technology solutions to improve road safety and traffic management governance. And we know that Hyderabad is actually one of the cities at the forefront of using technology solutions. And so maybe I'll just open with you, Mr. Anil Kumar. So Hyderabad has an operating ITMS system, if I understand correctly. So could you tell us a little bit more about that and how it's being applied, in what kind of use cases are being applied in the day-to-day traffic management?
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, you have started with me. I have not prepared any PPT also. But while going through all these presentations, I think 2-3 presentations were mainly on the enforcement part, that how the traffic violators are being caught by using this technology. And same thing we are also doing in integrated traffic management system. We are also doing the same thing. I think the presentation given by Pixuate, I think Akshata, but the Akshata has given almost same violations we are also catching through ITMS. And I think maybe 1 or 2 we are having extra which we are catching, like this wrong side driving is also major menace in Hyderabad city. People tend to, they move in the wrong direction. So of late we have added that violation also in our this ITMS system, so we can catch the violators who are moving in the wrong direction. Because in the city we have observed many accidents take place only because of the road wrong side movement. So, and I think all other things which Akshata has mentioned, they are all there in our ITMS system. And others also which the presentation was there, I think same thing. But when this Tarun has given this idea, and then I was thinking, what should I speak? So, these days we are more concentrating on the violators, that doing the enforcement. Of course, enforcement is very much required. Actually, after I took charge in March 2018 as a traffic chief in Hyderabad city, so after doing some study, then we have, chalked out some 10 kind of violations which lead to the road fatalities. 10 violations, mainly this signal jumping, this cell phone driving, drunken driving, and then wrong side driving, signal jumping, and then this triple riding without helmet, all these things. So we are concentrating on that, and with that we have got very good result also. Last 4 years, if you see only Hyderabad city means it doesn't include Cyberabad and Rachakonda. So in Hyderabad city, we have been very successful every year to decrease the road fatalities. And this year also, thanks to Corona, we had achieved our target. Otherwise, it would have gone up. Let me confess honestly, because in the November month, we had very high casualties, because there were 2-3 accidents where in single accident, 2-3 people died. So that was very sad part. But I can definitely tell that enforcement on these violations definitely can lead to some road safety, some sense of road safety feeling among the commuters also, and the public also keep appreciating. Of course, some vested interest people will be there. They will always be pointing finger at us. As such, we are doing enforcement to collect money for the government, which is very, very false, because Telangana government having a budget of more than 1 lakh crore, and we collect only around 100 crore per year. I think that is क्या बोलते हैं उसको, कुछ भी नहीं है वो. तो इसलिए, but anyway, we have to do our duty. But keeping aside all these things, I think we should come up with some new technology where we are providing the facility to the commuters for the movement of traffic, like this ATCC, this automatic traffic classification and counting. So that, I think that is one thing which is there as a part of our ITMS, but unfortunately we are not able to implement it, and because there are so many technical reasons. I don't know, Mr. That IBA man is there. I saw him here, so you can ask him why they have not been able to do it. So I feel sorry that spending so much time also, we are not able to provide the proper facility to the citizens, because if you travel after 10 p.m. in the city, you will see that that signal timing is the same which is in the daytime. Nighttime traffic is less, so signal time should automatically decrease, so that public don't have to wait for a long time. Suppose daytime they are waiting for say 90 seconds, so nighttime that much traffic is not there, so the timing should be only 40 seconds or 50 seconds, something like that. So but we are not able to do that. So and if we decrease that timing also during a night time, I think that signal jumping also will automatically will be checked, because people will have that feeling, okay, I have to wait only for this much time, so they will be ready to wait. But when we are not able to provide them the proper facility, and some people, they tend to jump and then accident occur. So I think we have to go think in that direction, and we should try to implement such technology in the city, especially in the mega cities, that it should be more oriented towards the traffic movement also. Okay, violation is one aspect, but traffic movement is also very important, because today I am in traffic, so my people will see my vehicle, they will give me clearance. But tomorrow I will not be in traffic, they will not be caring for me also. So we have to think for the public. And similarly, this I think we in Hyderabad and all this Hyderabad, Rachakonda also, we have to implement this, how to count the vehicles, then how to adjust the timing at the signal. That is very, very important. And I would like our IBA guy, Mr. Vishweshwar, to kindly throw some light on that. And that is one aspect. And similarly, as Mr. Jasim also told, that is also very good facility, which of course it was a part of our ITMS also, but we have not been able to implement it. And but it is really useful. Now I think he has given some good ideas. We can start with implementing at certain junctions, and then we can only give it to the certain kind of emergencies, not all the ambulances we need to give it. So that is a very good idea. So I think that is also a good part. I think that will be a good takeaway from this seminar, I would say that. And there are certain other things also. Let me check some points I have written. Yeah, of course, already we are using this variable message boards also, which are also creating a very good impact in especially creating the traffic awareness. Then Corona period, we have used the public address system also at our junctions, telling the people to use mask and maintain the social distancing. So this variable message boards, this public address system at the junctions, and these are also some of the things But we have to increase all these numbers. It should not be limited to only certain areas. Like in Hyderabad also, if you see the old part of the city where all these facilities are lacking. So unless until we go and spend some time, spend more money in those areas also, because the same citizen, they will be moving in throughout the city also. So we need to have the uniform distribution of all this technology in different part of the city. So I think these are some of the points which I wanted to share. But I would like Vishweshwar to kindly reply what are the things which I have asked. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before we move to Mr. Vishweshwar, I'd also like Mr. Vijay Kumar to reflect on the situation in Cyberabad. What are some of the technologies currently being used? What sort of technologies do you see opportunity for? I think the implementation of the ITMS is also imminent in Cyberabad. So do you see that bringing about big changes in the way your department is working, sir?
Thank you. Cyberabad is quite different from Hyderabad city in terms of traffic and road safety scenario, and also the road infrastructure scenario is concerned. Cyberabad has a large chunk of national highways and also the rural roads, and the rural population also move on our roads quite significantly. So technology part for traffic management is the ITMS implementation is in pipeline. Already it is being implemented here. Implemented means only the hardware part is being taken care of now, and the project is yet to be implemented per se. Functional stage is yet to happen. And other than ITMS, we have been using earlier the integrated signals were there. Integrated signal management system was there as part of H-TRIMS implemented by BEL. Now the signal project, new signal project also has been handed over by GHMC to IBI only. IBI has been the software partner with L&T for implementation of ITMS. So now this year is very crucial for Hyderabad, Cyberabad and Rajgunda, for the entire Hyderabad metropolitan city, as both the ITMS and the signal projects, both are with IBI now. Now, as our additional CP Anil Kumar sir was mentioning, the IBI has a big responsibility in realizing the dream of signal optimization and also ensuring seamless traffic movement at least on our major roads in the city, at least by the end of this year, as they have the both brain and other organs. Now signals are with them, and the whole software ecosystem is in their hands. So we are coordinating with this IBI, L&T. L&T is the system aggregator, integrator. We have been coordinating with all these agencies in implementing the technologies which are already in place in Hyderabad. Basically in Cyberabad, traffic management during peak hours is the biggest task, because the core business district of the entire city is in Cyberabad. The entire IT population from all corners of the city comes towards Cyberabad in the morning times, and in the evening times it goes towards various parts of the city. And now, thanks to GHMC and HRDCL, a lot of new link roads have been developed. So we have to have a relook at what we were doing pre-COVID and now post-COVID scenario, when the work from home stops and all the companies start working. We have a bigger challenge on our hand in working together, with IBI and L&T in improving the the traffic management. In Cyberabad, more than traffic management as of now, we are focusing on road safety. As far as road safety situation goes, technology has been almost like nil. There is no technology participation or technology intervention for improving road safety in Cyberabad as of now. So as Anil Kumar sir was mentioning, I echo his words that more than enforcement, because even with bare eyes, our constables with cameras, they can capture lakhs of violations per day. So we can generate lakhs of violations. So even without any technology. So we already have manpower who are standing on the roads and who are observing all these violations. So more than these startups and other technocrats who are, instead of focusing more on enforcement, they should do good if they focus on improving the road safety and traffic management, particularly how to improve lane discipline on our roads. That is the biggest challenge for us. Lane discipline, how it can be improved. Yes, I agree. It should be in coherence with our road infrastructure. Technology alone cannot improve lane discipline. It should be with road infrastructure. It should. Whether it is a signalized junction or it is unsignalized junction, there will be so many conflicts happening. So even in bare eyes, we can see, but the authorities will accept the data, the statistics, avoiding conflict zones at a junction, at any intersection in the city, in statistical form, and correlating it with road safety and also traffic congestion will definitely help authorities in realizing that there is a problem, and then spending money on improving the road infrastructure and also incident management. Now, for example, in the traffic management, traffic police will be basically focusing on intersections. So traffic police, ideally in any city in India, they will be standing at junctions only. They will not be standing in between junctions. Even if they are standing in between junctions, the communication, for example, we'll have our traffic constables or home guards. They will be standing, for example, between two junctions, and there is some road rage or some accident or anything else, some external factor, some road damage. So he has to communicate to the right authorities at right time so that they intervene and resolve the issue before some big traffic mayhem takes place in the city. So there is this, even if we deploy manpower also, this communication problem will be there. So the technologies to identify these kind of what I can say anomalies in traffic management on roads is the need of the hour for traffic police and for general public also. Now all our these kind of information we are getting only from, in bits and pieces from social media and our own traffic police from field, which will be very delayed. There will be time lag and there will be loss of information. So this is hurting traffic police in proper management of traffic, and thereby a lot of public criticism also comes, saying that so much of government is spending so much on traffic police and you are unable to maintain traffic and only focusing on enforcement. So this is the common criticism everywhere in the city, all cities in India. So my perspective is the innovative technologies should come and address these core issues of traffic management and road safety. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll actually quickly turn to Mr. Ziauddin now, because I think a lot of points that Mr. Vijay Kumar sir raised on how we can use some of this data to actually get the required budgets for the works that are needed. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, sir. And also, considering that Hyderabad has recently instituted the CRMP, the Comprehensive Road Maintenance Program, which and is also sort of moving forward quite a bit on road construction. How do you see are you firstly using any technologies as part of this entire process, or do you see the potential to integrate and leverage some of this big data that's being generated on the roads for your decision making as well as your maintenance activities?
Now, from the GHMC perspective, am I audible? So, from the GHMC perspective, what we are looking at is when we take up road maintenance, what we do is generally we always have a budgetary constraint. So depending on the quality of road or the requirement of road on.
Mr. Ziauddin, I think you're stuck.
At least for a few years. But immediately what happens is we get entangled with the development again, because as now traffic police is talking about, we are going with new signaling system, etc. Then backbone fiber is required. So somebody will come with a road cutting request. So once a road is cut, that's the road, the total fiber of the road will be cut, and you can't have a same type of road surface once it is cut. So these things are taking a lot of toll on our roads. So what we have done is this comprehensive road maintenance program has been designed on the instructions of our Honorable Minister. There we have identified all main roads, which were like 709 kilometers of main roads. Both they belong to GHMC as well as HRDC. So these roads we have handed over to 7 agencies, almost 100-kilometer road per agency we have given, and this project is for 5 years. All the maintenance requirements of roads will fall into the gambit of these agencies. So what happens is these agencies, they will do one layer of recarpeting of the road and they will maintain it for 5 years. And they will be responsible, they will be penalized if they don't maintain. So we have a lot of SLA and KPIs assigned to them. As per that, they are going ahead. And incidentally, we have utilized the lockdown period to a larger extent in Hyderabad. We did almost 300 kilometers of roads. Out of 709, 300 kilometers of road laying has been done during lockdown period. Our police department was very helpful in allowing all the men and material throughout the city, throughout the GHMC area, which includes Cyberabad, Rachakonda, as well as Hyderabad city. And we could do a lot of good work during that lockdown period. And 50% of the roads are completed. We are planning to do balance 50% in this year also. After that, there will be 3 years left over only for maintenance of roads. What we did is the responsibility along with maintenance, we have given the ownership also to the agencies. Now, these CRMP agencies, they will only accord road cutting permissions. They will be the owner of the road for 5 years, because otherwise if authority intervenes with them for every small thing, then they will not be able to maintain the roads properly. So for that point of view, we said you collect road cutting charges and you maintain the roads, and the road cutting permissions also are governed by them. We have given a window of 2 months in a year where road cutting permissions can be given. And after that, again, road restoration will happen and nobody will touch the road. So that way, what we are doing is we are going ahead in that direction with this CRMP program. Apart from that, GHMC has taken up SRDP also, Strategic Road Development Program, wherein we are looking at several junctions to be made signal free. Mostly some works have been seen in the Cyberabad area, like you can see Biodiversity Junction and Cyber Towers, etc. We are trying. So what we are going to have in the SRDP is the junctions will have signal-free junctions at major intersections. That is what we are looking at. It is also a 6,000 crores project, which is underway. And other part is the pedestrian safety. That is very important for us. As everybody knows, the fatalities are on the pedestrian side. And we have conceived about 38 foot-over bridges, which are in advanced stage of progress. So maybe in next 3-4 months, we will be providing at critical locations foot-over bridges for the movement of pedestrians. These bridges are equipped with lift and at most of the places escalators also, because people don't climb over the bridges. So that is why we are providing all the facilities. Apart from that, we have insisted that there are about 60 stations of Hyderabad Metro Rail. They were in unpaved area, they can utilize that as foot-over bridges also. So that we have insisted the Hyderabad Metro Rail to allow people to cross from one side to other side. So like that, we will be having almost more than 100 foot-over bridges in the city exclusively for the safety of pedestrians in the city. Apart from that, our concern as a officer of GHMC, our concern is that we are maintaining roads. We are trying to do like we will have a lot of interaction and convergence with police department at local level, zonal levels also, at head office level also. Convergence meetings will happen every month with our commissioner, additional commissioner sir will be there, our DCPs are also will be there. So many people will be coming. We are working towards making safe city for the pedestrians as well as for the traffic. The issue which I try to highlight today is the speed of vehicles during nights, which we are unable to control. We give very good roads during the day, but because of traffic, you'll have an average speed. But in the nights, you can see roads are good enough and people will be zooming like anything. And we put boards of 40 km/h as the maximum speed in the city, but nobody follows. And signals may be there or sometimes signals may not be there, but the speed is killing many of the people in the night. So I think some technological improvement I'm looking at, which can control the speed and the variable message boards, etc. That is IEC, what we look at. That also should be there during the night, clearly saying that you are going at this speed, please slow down or something of that sort. That will help in a little bit reduction of accident. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just one follow-up question is, so the CRMP is happening and there's already a lot of consolidation happening, because of which some efficiencies are gained. Now, on top of that, if you are to also use certain technology solutions to understand which stretches to prioritize, do you think there could be further efficiencies realized in terms of reducing the size of the tender by saying that, okay, you know, top 500 kilometer stretches of roads to be treated based on technological inputs? And do you think on the other hand, so on the one hand, can tender amounts be reduced and more efficiencies realized there by prioritizing bad roads or by prioritizing areas that need maintenance? And on the other hand, could we also request more funding from the state government by showcasing that, you know, this is where traffic jams are happening. You do need a new link road here. Or, I mean, in Hyderabad, that's not a problem right now, but do you see potential for, you know, using data like this to actually either make budgets more efficient or to ask for more municipal budgets?
Firstly, let me talk about the technological intervention, what we are looking at. I think only one presentation, that is about road bounds. They talked about this technology. Actually, what happens is they can identify the locations where road condition is not good. Once in a year, we can use that technology to prioritize our budgetary requirements or the prioritization of the road work to be taken. Since main roads are already gone with the CRMP and for next 5 years, they are supposed to be in good condition because we are giving maintenance charges also. So that will not happen there, but other roads, we can definitely look at that technology provided that is affordable, because that is one thing. Second thing is, as far as putting more focus is there, GHMC, as you know, we are having some political bosses also will be there with us. So when we go into prioritization, there will be a lot of political angle to that also. So basically, social and political aspects have to be kept in mind while allocation of budget. It cannot be that just we can allocate budget only for a road and we cannot give it to internal colonies and lanes and by-lanes also. There also people will be living, they want good quality of living in that place also. So that way, that's why we have to make a balance of budget towards main roads as well as towards the internal roads. And as far as main roads and the budgetary allocation from state government is concerned, rarely we get, because we are self-sufficient, we have sufficient budget with us. So we will be going in that direction. But another technology, what we can look at, which has not been shown today, but we can look at is regular inputs like the CCTV surveillance, etc. There should be some regular inputs about the requirement of maintenance of road, maybe once in a month or like that. Because if I go with road bonds, they can only come and they can give a very detailed picture. Again, after I complete the job, again, they can give a detailed picture, but it is not a monitoring type of thing. It is only, we can go for like highway type of a structure. Whereas in urban roads, we'll have a lot of challenges we'll be facing throughout the year. Immediately after monsoon, you'll have lot of roads need to get some attention. So there we need this. After completion of this network, this is repair to roads after monsoon, maybe 2 months. After that, we need again the situation. Then again, after like 3-4 times, we need this type of activity. So some regular monitoring mechanism through CCTV surveillance, because the city of Hyderabad is supposed to be a city with maximum CCTV cameras. So if that can be linked and if we get an input, that is what our DGP sir is also talking about, that all technologies will be linked in our command control center. So from there, if we can get an input that so-and-so roads need on a continuous basis, not on intermittent basis, that will help me helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's where Anurag's previous comment on SOPs for how to install your CCTVs based on the kind of use cases that you want to get from them. If you want to detect speed violations or any of these different sorts of use cases, or even road maintenance, then you need different, like you need to understand how to install your cameras and all, so that, you know, we are able to leverage the sort of data that we need for these different use cases. Now, finally, last but not least, I'll turn to the man of the hour, Mr. Vishweswar Rao. You've been called upon by both Mr. Anil Kumar and Vijay Kumar. If you could provide your reflections on where Hyderabad is with respect to the application of some of the technologies, some of the concerns raised by the government officials, and how you see a way forward on this.
Yeah, I think Chaitanya, first of all, thanks for this opportunity. And as everyone mentioned, Hyderabad has always been on the forefront on implementing of new technologies, and ITMS definitely is one of the technology which has been successful to a large extent in the city of Hyderabad, and now it is also planned to roll out into Cyberabad and Rachkonda commissionerates very soon. Yes, when we say ITMS, it is Integrated Traffic Management System. So as a part of ITMS in Hyderabad, we had integrated more than 20 different subsystems, which were like legacy systems, which were new systems, which were procured as a part of ITMS, whether your variable message signs or your public announcement systems, the ANPR cameras, the CCTV cameras, like these kind of things. There are like more than 20 plus technologies as subsystems which were integrated, and ATCC is one of those, the automatic traffic counting and classification. And then the idea of the integrated traffic management system is to integrate some of these technologies with legacy systems and third-party applications which are already there on the field, one of which is the existing legacy traffic signaling system. And there were definitely a lot of challenges in terms of integrating the ATCC data with the existing traffic signaling system, which over the course of the last 1.5-2 years, we were not able to figure that out. But then, as Vijay Kumar sir always says, now IBA is also responsible for the traffic signaling system. We cannot complain any further. Yes, I think that's a very right thing to say, sir. And then the expectations are also from our end are very clear that we want to integrate the automatic traffic counting classification data with the upcoming signaling system, which will in fact, like not only solve the problem of the timing issue that Anil Kumar sir has mentioned in terms of static timing, like we are going into adaptive mode where using the ATCC data and other sensors data directly integrated with the advanced adaptive system, we are going to change the signal timing in real time. Also keeping in mind the pedestrian safety, phasing diagrams for pedestrian safety, and then also looking at the lane behavior aspects. So there are like a lot of these factors that come into a picture when integrations happen. See, like any system which works as an isolated manner can only solve certain use cases. But when the real power of ITMS comes in, when the cross-domain exchange of data and exchange of integrations happen between multiple subsystems happen, that is where the power of technology comes, and then it just enhances the things that we can do as a subsystem or a traffic management system. And yes, we are definitely committed in terms of the integrated traffic management system to integrate any new technology that is available in the industry to help and then to solve a lot of these use cases that are there. So that is one point that I wanted to mention. And the second point is related to your ambulances, right? Giving green wave to ambulances. So there was like a lot of back and forth while designing the ITMS use cases. So there was this use case of emergency vehicle preemption for ambulances. but the challenge that we really faced there was the density of hospitals and the number of ambulances that are flying on the city roads in Hyderabad. So, so there was a lot of design exercise that had happened, and we in fact zeroed down on one of the use case where we give two kinds of priority, P1 and P2. So P1 priority is something which is like during a non-peak hour, if an ambulance is moving, we actually provide a P1 kind of a emergency vehicle preemption, which is like for ambulances or even fire vehicles or even your police vehicles. And P2 is something which is like emergency, like for example, in case of life-saving scenarios where we want to move the people in the ambulance to the hospital, nearest hospital in a very quick time, we go with the P2 kind of an implementation. And there were like some discussions that happened with the 108 agency also. But as Anil sir was mentioning previously, that didn't go forward due to various reasons. So these are the two things I think I would want to mention. And during the lockdown, definitely like so one of the real use cases where we got a lot of value from ITMS was during the lockdown, where we were able to do two particular use cases I would want to bring to your notice is the automatic traffic counting and classification data was used to measure the density of people or traffic that is moving on the road, which helped to ensure that the lockdown restrictions are being followed by the people. And if there is a certain density of traffic that is crossing at a particular location, based on the ATCC data, we used to get like notifications at the control room that saying that, okay, certain number of like say 1,000 vehicles per hour have crossed the junction. And then a notification used to come on the control room, which helped the police to take some preventive actions. That is one use case. And the second use case is basically there was a restriction of movement of vehicles beyond 3 kilometer radius in the city during the lockdown. And the ANPR system of the ITMS came into a picture where we were tracking like millions of traffic number plates day on. And then we had run this algorithm where we were able to find identify the vehicles which are crossing this 3 kilometer threshold based on the detections that were happening. So these were like some practical use cases which were not envisaged during the overall design of the system, but we were able to use the system for the use cases which we never thought of.
Thank you. And a follow-up question is, how do you work with the government in sort of bringing the cutting edge solutions to the fore? And I'm sort of asking this as a proxy to understanding how, if say there are technology solutions or applications that startups come up with, or any technology companies come up with, would they work with you to work with government, or do they work separately? Because you're now sort of integrating all the software solutions, it would make sense to work with you. So just as an avenue to explore for startups.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'll answer this question more from the IBI perspective rather than Hyderabad. So we have a smart city sandbox as IBI. We have like collaboratively established this sandbox with like more than 25 plus startups globally who are willing to work with IBI on bringing the cutting edge technologies into the citizen domain, where like they can be practically implemented on the field. Like we are partners with Amazon Web Services. We are partnered with Microsoft Cloud Services, and a lot of these new cutting edge technologies that are coming from Microsoft or Amazon. We are the people who are going to use it for the first time on the field with their support and collaboration. A lot of the technologies that have been showcased today, definitely we are very interested to explore further if that can help the cities.
Okay, thank you. We're over time, but I'll just take one question from the audience, which is more directed towards maybe Mr. Vijay Kumar or Mr. Anil Kumar, whoever may be able to answer. How is the command and control center capturing traffic vehicular data? Is there a repository to store the data? And is there a data sharing policy in terms of sharing this data with consultants and planners? That's the other part. Like,
the data privacy as well as the open data aspects of all this data that's being collected and integrated so that we can also move it into the planning sphere.
I think Mr. Vishweshwar can answer this better.
Yeah, I'll take it. That's what I was saying. Yeah, so there are currently in Hyderabad, there are around 135 locations where we are collecting the automatic traffic counting and classification data that transforms to around 32 junctions. And there are like still a provision of 15-20 new locations to be added. But yes, for the last 1.5 year, starting May 2019, we have like a repository of automatic classification and counting data available on the city roads and all these locations in Hyderabad across the 35 locations where we are doing like 24-hour counting and classification. So that data as a repository is available in the traffic control room.
But it's not in the public domain though?
It's not in the public domain, but I think if it is for like usage for planning better infrastructure for the city, there is always a data exchange that happens between the police department and other departments as and when required. So that is something that I think Vijay Kumar sir or Anil Kumar sir should come in.
Data sharing as ITMS is in its nascent stages. The data is just getting into the repository, and in due course of time, definitely this data custodian will be police only. So in due course of time, for the betterment of infrastructure around, in the city, for public benefit, definitely for all the stakeholders, whether it is engineering departments or transportation agencies or urban planners, definitely this data will be shared on need basis, just for the betterment of public infrastructure.
Thank you, sir. And so we're over time. Otherwise, there were actually other points of discussion that we could have had. This has been a valuable exchange, and I thank everyone for being very frank and forthright and just sort of discussing how they are currently managing the traffic issues in Hyderabad, as well as the enterprise solutions for presenting your solutions and sparking this conversation. So thanks so much, everybody. And
I would just like to add that what Vijay has told. In addition to that, a lot of these engineering students, postgraduate students from transportation engineering side, they come and they take data from us. And we are providing data to them also. Even media keep on asking data, so we give to them. So giving data is not a problem. There is no secret. As I keep telling my media friends also, whatever action, inaction or overaction is done by the traffic police, it is seen by everyone. So traffic is the most visible part of the policing. So I think the data comes from public only. So anybody who want to take data from us, they are most welcome. We can share any data with them, except for this thing, how much challan amount you have collected. That we don't share that, because that is not our priority. Also, our priority is the road safety and traffic management. That is our priority. Just because we have to control the violations. And we have to ensure the road safety. For that only we do the enforcement. It's not for collecting money and all those things. So anybody who want to take data, we are open to share it. Maybe the competitor of IBI, if they also want data, we can give it. But maybe IBI may object that time. That we can discuss. Thank you. Thank you.
Not at all, sir.
Thank you, sir. So considering, again, when we go back to the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about how there are several pilots in the space, but there isn't much implementation. Also, Hyderabad is one of the foremost cities actually implementing technology. So a lot of other cities have not even reached the stage of actually implementing some of the solutions possible and available to improve the situation for an accelerated uptake. And we do think more exchanges like this to understand what government needs and to understand what technology has to offer at the current time are actually very important to keep the conversation going and actually find areas where partnerships and integration can take place. So I thank you all once again for spending your valuable time and participating in the seminar, and I hope you all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chaitanya.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Tarun, can we close it?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.